Hello and welcome. My name is Elaine Neugebauer, and I work as an educational consultant within Pennsylvania's Training and Technical Assistance Network. I serve as a contributing team member to Pennsylvania's multi-tiered system of support, MTSS initiative, and we'll be talking with you today about MTSS in regards to how to increase family-school partnerships as it relates to sustaining comprehensive school improvement processes and outcomes. PATN's mission. The mission of the Pennsylvania Training and Technical Assistance Network, PATN, is to support the efforts and initiatives of the Bureau of Special Education and to build the capacity of local educational agencies to serve students who receive special education services. PDE's commitment to least restrictive environment, LRE. Our goal for each child is to ensure individualized education program IEP teams begin with the general education setting with the use of supplementary aids and services before considering a more restrictive environment. As a brief review, Pennsylvania's multi-tiered system of support is an standards-aligned comprehensive school improvement framework for enhancing both academic and behavioral health outcomes for all students. In Pennsylvania, Response to Intervention RTI refers to the methodology that is used to determine how low is low and how slow is slow as an alternative to ability achievement discrepancy within the specific learning disability SLD determination process. Pennsylvania's MTSS model represents an integrated system, meaning that cross-disciplinary teams use a problem-solving process to facilitate shared ownership for achieving academic and behavioral goals using a continuum of evidence-based practices and reliable and valid data sources. The academic side of MTSS, standards-aligned, high-quality core literacy, mathematics, and STEM instruction is delivered within the context of culturally responsive practices, positive behavioral supports, and family engagement. These are the key components that form the foundation of Pennsylvania's MTSS framework. When a well-articulated, well-designed tiered system is in place, schools are more likely to realize efficient, effective, and sustainable outcomes. During today's session, we will explain the importance of partnering with families and the research that supports effective family-school partnerships. In addition, 6 types of involvement in an MTSS framework will be reviewed. And finally, available resources to help you support and strengthen family-school partnerships will be discussed. In the book, Organizing Schools for Improvement, Lessons from Chicago, Anthony Brick and fellow researchers identify family engagement as one of 5 essential elements of school improvement. Following an analysis of the practices of 100 Chicago schools, it was determined by Brick and his associates that positive ties with parents and communities were significantly beneficial when it occurred in tandem with the best teaching practices, instructional guidance, and a student-centered learning climate under the umbrella of effective leadership. While each of these factors contributed to student achievement separate, achievement was only maximized when all elements were present. When any of these elements are missing, the capacity for success was significantly reduced. Consider this. If family engagement represents such an important component of school improvement, how do we engage our families and build effective school partnerships? Years of research has shown family engagement to have a significant impact on outcomes, such as reduced dropout rates, increased student achievement, better student-teacher relationships, and improved trust in school. This information speaks to the importance of family engagement and how a strong family, school, and community partnership has the potential to improve and sustain positive school climate. In order to establish partnerships with families, educators must be taught and prepared to engage families. Taken from the Dual Capacity Building Framework by Karen Mapp and Paul Kuttner, this slide indicates the positive outcomes associated with an educational staff that are prepared to engage families in meaningful partnerships. The third bulleted item is the key: to connect all family and school initiatives to student learning and achievement. Our goal is to build a community whose main function is to support our youth and prepare them for their life after they leave school. As Karen Mapp has said, the Dual Capacity Building Framework should be seen as a compass, laying out the goals and conditions necessary to chart a path towards effective school-family partnerships, and those efforts that are linked to student achievement and school improvement. Along with the Dual Capacity Framework, in which we are taking the time to really build the knowledge and skills of families and school staff, we need to encourage a new way of thinking about engagement of families, because building an authentic partnership with these families requires a paradigm shift, a move from the red to the green. From seeing families and community members as a part of the problem to seeing them as a part of the solution. Focused on improving the core enterprise and is linked to learning and development, aligned and coherent with the overall whole school improvement goals, inclusive of various stakeholders in the community, integrated across the system and not standalone or boutique projects, and attempting to shift school structures and cultures to share power and resources with stakeholders, especially families. Let's think about how this shift might play out at the local level. We want to encourage moving away from random acts of involvement to building partnerships with families. For instance, an example of an event that is fairly well received in a local district is the monthly PTA-PTO meeting. An idea that was presented to the leadership team was to set up table tents with names of all the homeroom teachers on them. As family members came into the meeting space, they were encouraged to sit by homeroom. This small change allowed family members to meet other families that have students in the same homeroom. That way, when their students come home from school and talk about a certain student, the families are more likely to know who they are talking about. It is an attempt to build community within that homeroom. As you can see, the strategy doesn't have to be something large and extravagant. The adjustments don't have to be costly, timely, or involved. Take some time to consider what events might be ones that might be a good fit for this work. Schools implementing an MTSS framework have the opportune structure to bring about meaningful change in family-school relationships, allowing for the creation of engaged partnerships between educators and families through collaborative, structured problem-solving efforts. Research suggests that students may spend more than 70% of their waking hours outside school. That statistic implies that school is not the sole setting for student learning. Therefore, when partnering for student success takes shape, it is visible in ongoing, sustainable, and intentional relationships that enable learning to live in school, in the home, and in the community. Furthermore, every stakeholder group benefits from partnering. This positive impacts include higher achievement for students, more engaged families, stronger community support for schools, and improved teacher morale and teacher performance. An MTSS framework provides schools with a well-designed entry for establishing or expanding partnerships with families. At team meetings, when data is shared, Who is responsible for sharing the data with families if they are not at the meeting? How is the team gathering input from the family? What role do families play when policies, documents, and supporting materials regarding MTSS are developed? How can families take an active role in the process? Remember, according to research, children do best academically when the family, school, and community have collaboratively developed shared goals. Many of the practices that benefit partnerships allow for access to resources, training, and materials, demonstrate respect for cultural, linguistic, and learning differences, and focus on results. Effective partnerships with families requires LEAs to consider their MTSS practices and how to engage families in authentic ways. Addressing all of the elements listed on this slide positions schools to capitalize on the opportunity to engage and work with families at the first sign of student difficulties. If the model is functioning well, by the time a student reaches the point of a comprehensive evaluation or is in the need of Tier 3 interventions, families and educators have long established positive engaged relationships that center around supporting student learning, sharing of data, and decision-making, interventions, and collaborative problem-solving. MTSS represents a change in educational practices. Several of these changes, such as the focus on prevention, screening, and early intervention, frequent systematic data collection, and the change in focus from where to teach students to questions of how, what, and is this working to produce an optimal student learning, segue to creative, engaged, positive relationships and problem-solving efforts across families and schools, sharing information, goals, and responsibility. Let's look more deeply at the ways in which we can broaden our engagement strategies with families through the use of Joyce Epstein's types of involvement. The 6 types of involvement can assist in the development of more comprehensive program of family-school partnerships. Each type of involvement includes many different practices of partnership. Type 1, parenting. The primary focus of Type 1 parenting is to help families establish home environments that support children as students. What a perfect connection to MTSS. What can school staff do to help families establish home environments that support children as students? What do families need to know about literacy strategies that students should practice at home? What do families need to know about adolescent development that will help them stay connected to their middle school and high school students? There are many ways in which we can reach out to families. Workshops, robophone messages on parenting and child development at each age and grade level. Parent education and other courses or trainings for parents, such as GED, family literacy, college or training programs. Family support programs to assist families with health, nutrition, and parenting, including clothing swap shops, food co-ops, and parent-to-parent groups. As a school implementing MTSS, consider the following questions families may have in order to best support their children as students. What can schools do to initiate conversations or provide resources to address these types of parenting questions that families may have but don't voice? Type 2, communicating. With Type 2 communicating, the focus is on designing effective forms of school to home and home to school communication, which is focused on school programming and student progress. Again, another great connection to MTSS. As school staff, build relationships with families through early and ongoing communication about things such as behavioral expectations, class requirements, scheduling, screening assessments, etc. Families are automatically a part of the process, schools are communicating with them in a positive way. We are very used to the principal newsletters, report cards, phone calls, but are those modes the preferences of families? Just as kids prefer Snapchat over text messaging, families have a preference as to how they receive information. Take the time to ask families. Get their buy-in and support. With regards to effective communication with families, how would you respond to the following questions that families might pose? Let's now take a look at Type 3, volunteering. Volunteering is a concrete, explicit type of involvement. Consider families as resources, not barriers or challenges, but resources in education. How can we harness the time and talent of our families? The results from implementing a more focused plan to increase volunteering can be felt by all involved. Within an MTSS framework, schools often need to think creatively to schedule intervention groups, provide practice time to groups of students. In what ways could families support these efforts? Consider the questions provided on the slide as they relate to your current work. How does or can your school provide information on assisting families and being helpful and supportive resources to their children as they are initiating or maintaining MTSS? This key, or Type 4 level of involvement, proposes ways of supporting parent involvement as an extension into learning beyond the school and classroom. It includes the concept of providing information and ideas to families about how to help students at home, specifically with homework and other curricular related activities, decisions, and planning. Information on homework policies and how to monitor and discuss homework at home can be another helpful and supportive resource to families assisting and guiding students through each school year. Materials should also be available in multiple formats, informing parents on skills required for students in all subjects at each grade. Perhaps you think of committees when you think of decision making, but expand your thinking. What projects are currently in place in your school, grade level, or district? How can we tap our family resources to improve school student success? Some examples can include active PTA, PTO, or other parent organizations, advisory councils, or committees. As an example, curriculum committees or safety committees that support family leadership and participation. District-level advisory councils and committees can also be considered, as well as creating and maintaining networks to link all families with parent representatives for broader input and information distribution. Let's take a look at Type 6, collaborating with community. Here are a few ways to activate and increase collaboration with the local and regional community. First of all, provide information for students and families on community health, cultural, recreational, social support, and other programs or services. Also, provide information on community activities that link to learning skills and talents, including summer programs for students. Service integration through partnerships, participation of alumni in school programs for students. There are also specific benefits linked to programs, services, resources, and opportunities that connect students with the community. These include an awareness of careers and of the options for future education and work, increased skills and talents through enriched curricular and extracurricular experiences, and knowledge and use of local resources by family and child to increase skills and talents, also to obtain needed services. Let's take a look at a few helpful resources which support school partnerships and engagement. An excellent and established resource to explore is the Center on Response to Intervention at the American Institutes of Research, or AIR. AIR supports states, districts, and schools to implement MTSS RTI. Their collection or resources provide information for parents and families about MTSS and RTI, as well as information for schools about working with parents and families throughout the MTSS and RTI implementation process. As you can see, the website to reach this information and materials is provided on this slide at rtiforsuccess.org. Our next resource available online is provided by the RTI Action Network, and it's a program of the National Center for Learning Disabilities, funded by the Cisco Foundation and in partnership with the nation's leading education associations and top RTI experts. This booklet was created by the RTI Action Network, and it reviews the basic components of any response to intervention or RTI process, and includes questions parents might want to ask their child's school to learn more about their RTI process. Also included are ways families can get involved in the process and what to do and where to go if you have questions or concerns. Some of the topics included in this resource are family-school interventions and partnerships, family-school partnerships and RTI, families, RTI, and special education. And the resource link is www.rtinetwork.org. A user-friendly version of the materials in the last resources can be found online. A resource developed by Parent Information Center with funding from the New Hampshire Department of Education and contains other supportive links for families exploring the MTSS and RTI process. The National Network of Partnership Schools was established at Johns Hopkins University in 1996. This resource was developed through this partnership. NNPS invites schools, districts, and states and organizations to join together and use research-based approaches to organize and sustain excellent programs of family and community involvement that will increase student success in school. Its website is found at www.partnershipschools.org. This slide contains a screenshot of the NNPS Publications and Products resource page, as well as links to web resources such as tips, interactive homework manuals, and materials for elementary and middle school grades, as well as webinar offerings to assist school and family partnerships. For more information on family-school partnerships and strengthening the family-school partnerships and engagement in regards to MTSS, please visit the Patent website at www.patent.net, and you will follow the Educational Initiatives tab to the Family Engagement and Multi-Tiered Systems of Support tab to find some additional information and some connections that will help you implement some of your strategies to better serve family and school partnerships. Some additional references that were utilized in creating this presentation are provided here. Thank you very much for attending the MTSS fertile ground for strengthening family-school partnerships and engagement. I hope that the information provided within this presentation will help you strengthen family-school partnerships in your school, grade level, and district. Thank you again.